Hare Krishna Maharaj and Madhupati Prabhu. I was wondering if there's a kirtan band in your immediate environs to lead kirtan, or shall I start? I'll start.
Maharaj is in Brooklyn, so.
It's okay, I can go ahead?
All right. Yeah, you can go ahead.
All right.
I can approve.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Satashri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mayi ki jai, Jamuna Mayi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktavrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, and welcome everyone for Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Monday, March 3rd, 2025 in New York, and tonight we are starting with Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 11, and I looked at my notes and I was able to determine that it looks like 31 is our starting verse, and I'm ready to be corrected unless I'll start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Swayambhuva Manu is still speaking to Dhruva Maharaj. Sangyachcharo shang bhadram te pratipang shreyasam param shrutena bhuyasa rajan agadena yatamayam. My dear king, just consider what I have said to you, which will act as medicinal treatment upon disease. Control your anger, for anger is the foremost enemy on the path of spiritual realization. I wish all good fortune for you. Please follow my instructions. Dhruva Maharaj was a liberated soul, and actually he was not angry with anyone. But because he was the ruler, it was his duty to become angry for some time in order to keep law and order in the state. His brother Uttama was without fault, yet he was killed by one of the yakshas. It was the duty of Dhruva Maharaj to kill the offender, life for life, because Dhruva was the king. When the challenge came, Dhruva Maharaj fought vehemently and punished the yakshas sufficiently. But anger is such that if one increases it, it increases unlimitedly. In order that Dhruva Maharaj's kingly anger not exceed the limit, Manu was kind enough to check his grandson. Dhruva Maharaj could understand the purpose of his grandfather, and he immediately stopped the fighting. The words Shrutena Bhuyasa, by constantly hearing, are very important in this verse. By constantly hearing about devotional service, one can check the force of anger, which is detrimental to the process of devotional service. Srila Parikshit Maharaj said that the constant hearing of the pastimes of the Lord is the panacea for all material diseases. Everyone, therefore, should hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. By hearing, one can always remain in equilibrium, and thus his progress in spiritual life will not be hampered. Dhruva Maharaj's becoming angry with the miscreants was quite appropriate. There's a short story in this connection about a snake who became a devotee upon instruction by Narada, who instructed him not to bite anymore. Since ordinarily a snake's business is to fatally bite other living entities, as a devotee, he was forbidden to do so. Unfortunately, people took advantage of this non-violence on the part of the snake, especially the children, who began to throw stones at him. He did not bite anyone, however, because it was the instruction of his spiritual master. After a while, when the snake met his spiritual master, Narada, he complained, "I have given up the bad habit of biting innocent living entities, but they are mistreating me by throwing stones at me." Upon hearing this, Narada Muni instructed him, "Don't bite, but do not forget to expand your hood as if you were going to bite. Then they will go away." Similarly, a devotee is always non-violent. He is qualified with all good characteristics, but in the common world, when there is mischief made by others, he should not forget to become angry, at least for the time being, in order to drive away the miscreants. Om Jnana Timirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Going along with the story here about the snake and Narada Muni, I had a personal experience in this regard. I was traveling with some devotees distributing books, and we were staying someplace where there was some sketchy character who was approaching us, about to give us a hard time or do some mischief. We weren't sure what. One of the devotees that was with us, very nice Paka Brahmachari, he let loose with such a stream of blue language that this man just basically curled up and rolled away. Very nice person and knew when to use anger appropriately, as Prabhupada also did. He would be able to change his mood on a dime just to get a particular instruction across to one of his disciples. He himself was, you could see, was not affected by anger. He didn't let anger control him, but sometimes he understood that anger was necessary to instill a certain instruction, so he used it as a tool, as Dhruva Maharaj is being advised to do by Swayambhuva Manu here. Otherwise, as Prabhupada says, Krodhat Bhavati Samoha. It increases unlimitedly, and then you lose it. You become bewildered. You lose your equilibrium, as he says here. But there's so many hopeful things. One of the hopeful things in the purport is when he says that by constantly hearing about devotional service, one can check the force of anger, which is detrimental to the process of devotional service. And also he says, immediately following that statement, Srila Parikshit Maharaj said that the constant hearing of the pastimes of the Lord is the panacea for all material diseases. I've also had this experience. My wife was ill. She didn't know quite why. Maybe she ate something wrong and she was just suffering. And she knew that only time was going to take care of it. And she asked me to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So I was reading first canto to her, and she felt so much better as a result. So when it says here, all material diseases, it can cure all material diseases and all spiritual diseases simultaneously by Krishna's grace. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, we'd love to hear from you if you have something to say here.
Thank you. Nicely covered. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Namre Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadesha Tarani. So there are two things. One is that Pratipam Shreyasam Param, the anger is the enemy of everything good. Shreyasam, of all good fortune. Anger spoils everything. Trividham Narakasyedam Tvaram Nashanam Kama Krodha Tata Lopas Tasmade Tattrain Jajay. Therefore, anger is to be given up, or that Prabhupada says controlled. So that's one thing. Samyachcha Rosham, control your anger. And Shrutena Bhuyasa Raja. Shrutena Bhuyasa, by constantly hearing Bhavosadachtrotamano Piramat. The constant hearing will be the medicine to subdue anger or everything else unwanted. Then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has a nice commentary here also. Would you like to read that, Bhakendra Prabhu? Okay, I'll read it.
Sorry, I have my microphone muted. I'm prepared to read it if you like.
Okay.
Sorry. The verse is rendered thus: As sickness is controlled by medicine, by constantly hearing instructions, control anger, which is the great enemy of proper conduct. All good fortune to you. And his commentary. This is simply imitating common behavior. You show anger externally to announce to people your affection for your brother. For devotees such as you, announcing your good qualities to the world is also a disease. Give up this disease of anger by my instructions, just as one gives up disease by medicine.
Subtle. It wasn't real anger. He was just showing people, no, I'm affectionate to my brother. It doesn't matter that he was my competitor as a child. My affection is there for him. And then said, what is this nonsense announcing your affection? You're just making another show. This is another nonsense, as Prabhupada would say. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have to say, I'm glad you picked up on that. I was, as I was reading and hearing you read or comment, I was thinking how we can see this sometimes in the behavior of devotees, that in order to appear such and such in the eyes of the world and not be seen as completely in their little spiritual bubble or out of it or irrelevant as spiritual practitioners, devotees may oftentimes do things that, like Srila Vishwanath says, to announce to the world this and that. But it's easy to get carried away when that tactic is taken. So it's subtle and very, very relevant instruction for everyone.
We may do that on behalf of the corporation or on our own behalf too, to show that we're good guys. And then that's condemned also.
We have some things in the chat here. Saraswati Mata says, Pranams Param Puji Maharaj and all the Vaishnavas. It's instructive how an advanced devotee can still continue to be benefited from the guidance of an elder devotee. And here, one of the Mahajans is directly advising Dhruva.
He is fortunate to be, what is that, Bhadram Te, all good fortune to you. He has a well-wisher in the form of his ancestor, Manu. So Manu is desiring all good fortune for Dhruva Maharaj, and therefore appearing in order to guide him. So Vaishnavas benefit from having such well-wishers. And we hope that we never cut ourselves off from our well-wishers and then become stranded with no one to advise us. We always benefit from the advice of the Vaishnavas, especially senior Vaishnavas.
Hare Krishna. I also was noticing that Swayambhuva Manu himself understood that his instructions would be beneficial to Dhruva if he took those instructions. He was not in illusion or falsely humble that what he was saying was maybe going to be for his benefit, maybe not. I'm not sure. This is the best I can do. But no, it's straight ahead. It's medicine. Please take it.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I was going to see, unless there are more comments, questions in the chat, which it appears not, whether Madhupati Prabhu is able to read our next verse, number 32.
Okay. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Gurudas Jayadvaita Swami Te Namine. Yena upasristat purusha loka udvijate brisham na buddha tad vasam gached icchan abhayam atmana. A person who desires liberation from this material world should not fall under the control of anger, because when bewildered by anger, one becomes a source of dread for all others. But a devotee or saintly person should not be dreadful to others, nor should anyone be a source of dread to him. If one treats others with non-enmity, then no one will become his enemy. There is the example, however, of Jesus Christ, who had enemies and they crucified him. The demoniac are always present and they find fault even in saintly persons. But a saintly person never becomes angry, even if there is very great provocation. Om Jnanatinandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurmitanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Yeah, so it's in line with the previous verse, how Swambhu Manu is instructing Dhruva Maharaj to give up his anger. And here he's mentioning a person who desires liberation from this material world should not fall under the control of anger. Because when bewildered by anger, one becomes a source of dread for all others, especially in Dhruva Maharaj's case, where he's such a pure devotee. He should be exemplary in his acts. Though limited anger was appropriate in this case, but it should not cross beyond certain limit and him being carried away by that anger. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibrama. Ultimately, it can cause delusion and ultimately it will lead to a downfall. So that's where Swambhu Manu is restricting, he's instructing Dhruva Maharaj that anger is a foremost enemy on the path of spiritual realization. It is detrimental for those who desire liberation and makes one a source of dread for all others. So he should give up his anger and stop killing yakshas. Yeah, that's all I have.
In Bhagavad Gita, Yasman no vijate loko lokan no vijate trayaha. Harsha Marsha Payod Vegar Suyukta Sasuki Nara. This was the quality of a devotee. He doesn't agitate anyone, and he's not agitated by anyone. Here, Udvijita, it doesn't terrify anyone and doesn't become terrified by anyone because he's situated on the liberated platform, spiritual platform. These dualities don't affect him.
Hare Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur just has a very short commentary, basically saying the same thing. It says, proper conduct is explained. Everyone fears the person filled with upasristat, anger.
Yeah, we see that practically. When somebody's angry, it's like, whoa, everybody wants to steer clear. You don't know when a person, what is that? Krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibrama buddhinashat pranashati. When a person's angry, anything can happen. So better to stay clear. You know, when a person's peaceful, when a person's affectionate, when a person's thoughtful, then we gather around. But when someone's angry, then it's like, whoa. Or if you go the other way and engage with the anger too, you become counter angry, then you'll get war. And you'll get still greater problems.
Hare Krishna. Saraswati Mata says, Durvasa Muni is known for his quick temper, which makes everyone around him very anxious, and in a way guarantees everyone treats him with extra care and attention. Hare Krishna. And Vijay Krishna Prabhu says, what about being angry at ourselves because of our shortcomings as practitioners of the process of Krishna consciousness? Some devotees do stop being devotees because of how intolerable it may be for them to not make spiritual advancement as quick as they would desire. Please, thank you, and Hare Krishna.
That anger should be limited. If we go around being angry at ourselves all the time, then that's not going to help either. Krodha Bhakti, some of them will become bewildered, even if we're angry at ourselves. So a certain amount of anger, well, you fool, what are you doing? But if we become absorbed in anger, that also becomes kind of self-indulgence or sense gratification. It becomes an obstacle. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. That verse we just read, Madhupati Prabhu, is very short, as well as the purport. If you'd like to read another one, that would be great.
Okay. Helanam Girisha Vratu Dhanadasya Tvaya Kritam Yat Jagnivan Punya Janan Bhatri Gyan Iti Amarsita. Translation. My dear Dhruva, you thought that the Yakshas killed your brother, and therefore you have killed great numbers of them. But by this action you have agitated the mind of Lord Shiva's brother Kuvera, who is the treasurer of the demigods. Please note that your actions have been very disrespectful to Kuvera and Lord Shiva. Lord Manu stated that Dhruva Maharaj had been offensive to Lord Shiva and his brother Kuvera because the Yakshas belonged to Kuvera's family. They were not ordinary persons. As such, they have been described as Punya Janan, pious men. Somehow or other, the mind of Kuvera had been agitated, and Dhruva Maharaj was advised to pacify him. Yeah. So, Swambhu Manu is further instructing Dhruva Maharaj that because of his anger, he has killed many yakshas, and they belong to the Kuvera's family, so he has agitated Kuvera, Lord Shiva's brother Kuvera, who is the treasurer of the demigods. Right? And he's hinting that, okay, no, sir, your actions have been very disrespectful to Kuvera and Lord Shiva. So now you should go now and pacify him, pacify Kuvera. So now it's further guiding Dhruva Maharaj in that direction. Yep.
Don't take things into account. We think, oh, these yakshas, I can knock them off. But then we don't consider that there may be they may have sympathizers, they may have relatives who will be disturbed or angered by what we do. We think it's, just between us and them. But then sometimes there's others in the background that we may not see. One has to be careful. When we get involved in friends and enemies, then this will be the result. the enemies that we didn't know about or hadn't thought about. Therefore, Dhruva Maharaj is advised to rise above that platform of friends and enemies and come to the spiritual plane. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yes, Hare Krishna. Let's see. We can move on to our next verse, I believe. Next text is 34. Vijay Krishna Prabhu, are you available to read text number 34?
Yes, Ekendra Das Prabhu, I am available. Text 34. Tam prasadaya vatsashu sanatya prashrayo tibihim nayavan mahatam tejam kulam no biba vishyatim. Translation. For this reason, my son, you should immediately pacify Kuvera with gentle words and prayers, and thus his wrath may not affect our family. Purport. In our common dealings, we should maintain friendship with everyone, and certainly with such exalted demigods as Kuvera. Our behavior should be such that no one should become angry and thereby commit a wrong to individuals, families, or society.
Some comments from your side, Prabhu?
Yes, Magyanativrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Shakshur Umilitam Jena Tajmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. It's my comment, it is a quick comment, and it is related to the last sentence of the purport, where we find Srila Prabhupada declaring that, quote, our behavior should be such that no one should become angry and thereby commit a wrong to individuals, families, or society. And my comment would be that it is very clear here, because Srila Prabhupada is saying it, that there's a connection between being angry and doing wrong to individuals, families, or society. And I would like to know about the time when to be angry is not the same as doing wrong to individuals, families, or society. That would be a question. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
When there's offenses to the Lord or his devotees, then one can become angry. We saw that with Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, Maharaj.
Who was it? Hanuman became angry and set fire to Lanka. Anger, what is it? Kama krodha samarpane. That anger and even lust can be dedicated to the service of the Lord. But one has to be careful, just as fire can be used in the service of the Lord also, but one has to be careful with such things.
Of course, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Here also, Ashu, when should you pacify him? Right away, soon, quickly. Ashu, not that, well, let's see what develops, and if I get in trouble, then we'll, apologize. But his at once. You've committed the offense. You know it's an offense. So don't wait to see if you can get away with it, or to see whether you can get away with it. You should try to pacify those who've been offended. And here it's by offering obeisances, by respectful behavior, by speaking gentle words. These are the usual means. When we think we're on top of everything, then we're angry, we're belligerent. But when we see, oh, I've made a mistake, then we become humble, we become gentle. We offer our respects to those whom we think we've offended. This is how a cultured person behaves. He doesn't just go on, well, yeah, but it was justified and we had it coming with him. Should see. Parikshit Maharaj, we see that he offended the Muni, Shamak Rishi. Then he felt humble and felt himself to be a wrongdoer. And he didn't even beg forgiveness because he didn't want to shame the Rishi. But he took it upon himself to think that, yes, I've been offensive. And especially Mahatam Teja. Bad enough to offend anyone, but especially to offend someone great. That's really going to get you in trouble. And here, Kuvera and Lord Shiva. So you've offended persons of great consequence. So don't wait to see what happens. Seek their pardon at once.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. As you were speaking, I was considering what you were saying before about how in anger, Dhruva was retaliating against the killing of his brother, killing wholesale so many yakshas, not thinking what effects that action might have taken with all of the relatives and such, as chief among whom was Kuvera. And here, Manu is making the point that, by the way, it's not just you who are going to be held responsible for this action, but our whole family is in the line of wrongdoing now. So
that saying is there, Chanakya. If there's a fire in the hollow of one tree, the whole forest can burn down. Or for the devotees, they're taken as representatives of the Hare Krishna movement. So if they do illegal or immoral things, then it reflects on the society, on the spiritual master, on the society. We should be careful.
Hare Krishna. Something more, Maharaj, or can I go to the chat? Saraswati Mata says, I was pleased when my daughter, as a child, had internalized the lesson I had tried to teach her about being sorry. She would say there are 3 sorries. Say it, mean it, and do something to fix it.
Yeah, this is sort of also even common wisdom about apologies. That they should be heartfelt, they should be articulated. What is it that I'm sorry for? What is it that I'm sorry for? And I mean it. And here's what I'm going to do about it. Otherwise, you get these apologies like, if I've said something that have offended you, if I said something that offended you, please forgive me. For which the answer is, well, if that's an adequate apology, I forgive you. We don't know. Or if, I realize that my actions may have given the appearance of offense. It means I don't take responsibility. It's your fault if you're offended, but to deal with a small-minded person like you, I'm willing to provisionally offer some sort of concession, even though I'm blameless. So those kinds of apologies, mealy-mouthed, equivocal, superficial, they're worse than not saying anything. Person receiving such apologies thinks, oh man, more self-serving pretense. But apologies should be, one should consider what is I know that this, disturbed you or interfered with something or whatever, and I take responsibility, it was my fault. And so here's what I'm going to do about it. I'll avoid such things in the future, or I'll buy you a new whatever it is that I trashed. But I'll do something to try to rectify the matter. Then these are the standard, even in common dealing, standard guidelines for apologies, superficial apologies, or hypocritical apologies are not appreciated. Pro forma apologies, not appreciated.
There's another form of apology too, that when someone has done something to upset someone else, they may say, well, I'm sorry to have upset you, but essentially I was completely justified in what I said because of X.
Yeah, it's your fault. I acted properly and you became upset. So really, you should do something about that, but I'll pass over it.
Hare Krishna. We are just at the end of this chapter. I'll read the final verse and then we will turn the page. So text 35. Evang svayambhuva potram anushasya manurdruvam tena bhivandita shakam rishibhihi svapurang yayo. Thus Swayambhuva Manu, after giving instruction to Dhruva Maharaj, his grandson, received respectful obeisances from him. Then Lord Manu and the great sages went back to their respective homes. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj to stop fighting. There we see Lord Manu again, as you previously commented, Maharaj.
I wrote Chitravidya Prabhu about it and said, you and your editors can decide what to do.
Jai.
We'll see.
I noticed just a brief thing in the end couple commentaries of Srila Vishwanath. He picked up on this appearance of the word iti in text 33, where Manu is saying thus, and because of the Thakur's extensive knowledge of Sanskrit, he noticed that this calls an end to the chapter. Iti is like the bracket at the end of everything that's been said, and that's the end of it. So now we just have the formal ending. We've said what needs to be said. So now moving on to chapter number 12, entitled Dhruva Maharaj Goes Back to Godhead. I see Radhesha Prabhu's name in the participants list. Prabhu, are you available to read?
I am working, but I'm listening.
Okay, great. Good to see you. Good to see you in any case. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Let's see. Preeti Purnamadavi Devi, would you like to read our text 1 in chapter 12 and start us off? I'm seeing that we actually have several verses without words, but if you'd like, you can read.
Okay, Prabhuji. मैत्रेयवाच ध्रुवं निवृत्तं प्रतिबुद्धे वैश्यसान् अपेतमन्यं भगवान् धनेश्वरः तत्रागतश्चारुण्ययक्षकिन्नरे संस्तूयमानो न्यवदत् कृतञ्जलिम्. Translation. The great sage Maitreya said, My dear Vidura, Dhruv Maharaj's anger subsided and he completely ceased killing yakshas. When Kuvera, the most blessed master of the treasury, learned this news, he appeared before Dhruv. While being worshipped by yakshas, kinnars, and charanas, he spoke to Dhruv Maharaj, who stood before him with folded hands. Dhanaduvacha Bho Kshatriyadaya परितुष्टो अस्मि ते अनघ यत्त्वं पितामहादेशान् वैरं दुस्त्यजम् अत्यजः. The master of the treasury, Kuver, said, O sinless son of a Kshatriya, I am very glad to know that under the instruction of your grandfather, you have given up your enmity, although it is very difficult to avoid. I am very pleased with you. Maharaj, would you like to comment anything?
No.
Okay. Text read. Na bhavan avadhit yakshan na yaksha bhrataram tava kala eva hi bhutanam pravar apyaya bhavayo. Actually, you have not killed the yakshas, nor have they killed your brother. For the ultimate cause of generation and annihilation is the eternal time feature of the Supreme Lord. Purport. When the master of the treasury addressed him as sinless, Dhruv Maharaj, considering himself responsible for killing so many yakshas, might have thought himself otherwise. Kuvera, however, assured him that factually he had not killed any of the yakshas, therefore he was not at all sinful. He did his duty as a king, as it is ordered by the laws of nature. Nor should you think that your brother was killed by the yakshas, said Kuvera. He died or was killed in due course of time by the laws of nature. Eternal time, one of the features of the Lord, is ultimately responsible for annihilation and generation. You are not responsible for such actions. Should I pause for any comments or go to the next verse?
Yainam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhoto navajanito nayam hanti nahanyate. Kuber is taking the position that no one's killing, no one's being killed. Of course, from one point of view, no one's ever killed, or no one is ever killing, because the spirit soul is eternal. And from another point of view, no one is acting. Everything is being done ultimately by the Lord, or through the laws of material nature. So he's forgiving, essentially, Dhruva Maharaj. We find that we ask forgiveness, and then the person says, oh, that was a small thing, or I didn't take it seriously, or it wasn't your fault. Whereas otherwise we might be inclined to say, you fool, you idiot, you rascal, you curse the person. But here, it's interesting, it's adeshat. We understand that it wasn't your spontaneous move to give up the fighting, but it's your good quality that you took instruction. from your grandfather, Pitamaha, and gave up enmity, which is duschijam, duschyaja, difficult to give up. But atyaja, you've given it up. So that's commendable. That it's very difficult to give up anger, but you stopped on a dime, as it were. You were full on fighting, but then when you received good instruction from your grandfather, then you stopped. Otherwise, sometimes, what was it? Bhima's fighting with Duryodhana, club fighting, and Lord Balaram is touring the holy places and meets them and sees the fighting going on, and he says that this fighting is useless, you should give it up. Bhima's stronger than Duryodhana, but Duryodhana is better at fighting, with the more skillful in club fighting. After all, I taught him. So under the circumstances, neither side can win. So it would be better for you just to give up this needless combat. But they were so absorbed in thinking, they were obsessed with remembering what their opponents had done. You did this to me, you did that to me. So they couldn't forget it, and they couldn't hear. So that happens. Or Dhritarashtra also got good instructions from Akrura that you're maintaining these offensive sons, and the result will be the ruin of your family, the ruin of your kingdom. So you should stop this. You should give up this unlawful behavior that comes from your affection for your son. You should be equal to all of your citizens. That's the duty of a king. Or from another point of view, these are your sons also, the Pandavas. You should be equal to them and not just favor your own sons. Whether you take them as your sons or as citizens, you should treat them with equanimity. And Dhritarashtra said, yes, I know, you're right, but what can I do? These instructions just don't stand in my heart. I can't, they don't work for me, as we say. So that can happen. We receive good instructions and we say, yes, I know, but what can I do? And we just don't take them. We give an excuse. Well, I know, but my desire is too great, or my anger is too great, or he did too much to me, or whatever excuse we have, and we go on fighting. But here, Dhruva Maharaj, as a great soul, upon receiving these instructions, at once desisted. Yes, I'll stop. So, and then that was appreciated. Kubera, yes, pleased. Prati, what is that? Someplace said previous verse. Yes. Paritushta. All around pleased. I'm very satisfied with your behavior. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. Saraswati Mata comments, it's astonishing how vengeful Ashvatthama was due to his father's death, that he wanted to kill Parikshit Maharaj in the womb after killing all the sons of Draupadi. Some feuds carry over for generations. And Radhesha Prabhu. Oh, wait, Maharaj, something?
No, Radhesha.
Radhesha Prabhu, please go ahead.
I've been meditating on this topic for a little bit. I was thinking about the bull Dharma, where he responds to Parikshit Maharaj. It's difficult to ascertain who is the miscreant that's the cause of my suffering. And I was just kind of like meditating on what is the objective reality. Is there an objective reality where someone is at fault, or is it just based on viewpoint? Like you could just see it as, hey, no one's at fault if you have broad enough vision. But as long as you try to defend yourself and say, oh no, I only did it because of A, B, and C, then you're a rascal and you're at fault. But the second you say, hey, or you take full responsibility, then everyone says, all right. Like Dhruva Maharaj, the second he showed contrition and said, okay, I'll stop fighting, then it was viewed as, okay, you didn't kill the yakshas and they didn't kill your brother. But it feels like there is an objective reality besides that, that he did kill yakshas and they did kill his brother. So which one is reality, and is it just a shifting sort of point of view?
It's shifting point of view. This is not hard mathematics, where we do the math and then QED. This is what it is. But these things can be looked at from different angles of vision. And your example is good. The bull looks at it and says, well, some say this and some say that. Could be looked at this way, could be looked at that way. But because he's a great soul, the bull, he doesn't point the finger at anyone. And here, Kubera also, he doesn't stick it on Dhruva Maharaj and say, well, whatever you say, but you did it. And so, we're going to, okay, I'm not going to be, I won't link this up with institutional comments, but he saw, right, he did it, but now he's changed his mentality, Kshipram Bhavati Dharmatma. So, we saw that with Srila Sridhar Maharaj also, after he'd been quite gravely insulted by ISKCON members. There was a delegation sent by the GBC to try to negotiate peace. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj began by saying, we think that we offended you. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said that from my side, I never felt any offense. But if you think there was some offense, then formally I forgive you.
And Venkatesh Prabhu says, here Dhruva killed, but he's mentioned that he didn't. Similarly, Kamsa also killed the children of Devaki, but he claimed it was done by time. How to understand this, Maharaj?
Yeah, this is which party is invoking freedom from responsibility. Dhruva Maharaj, I killed so many yakshas needlessly. He's seeking to pacify Kubera. And Kubera, no, you didn't do it. It was the effect of time. It's the hand of the Lord. But if it had been the other way, Dhruva Maharaj says, well, I know I killed a lot of your relatives, but they had it coming. And anyway, it was just divinely ordained. You can't hold me responsible. Then you're digging yourself deeper by irresponsibility. No, it wasn't me. It was just they were just getting the reactions of their own past sins. And, don't look at me for anything. I was just the agent of the divine will. So that's Kamsa, he's instructing Anakadumbi, Vasudev. He's instructing Vasudev about how a saintly person should deal with offenses, how he should see things. Well, we're all under the control of time, and we're all under the control of material nature, and blah, blah. Anything but I did it and I'm sorry. The example is famous also in the Bible, in the beginning, when Adam gets caught eating the forbidden fruit, and God calls him out on it. Did you eat that fruit? It was the woman that you created. She offered it to me. So transferring the responsibility. It's her fault or it's your fault, but it's certainly not my fault. Yes, objectively speaking, I did eat it, but it was because of her and ultimately because of you. That sort of response doesn't endear one to one's wife or the personality of Godhead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. And we've gone a bit over time, but we must end with some kirtan. So I'm going to see if perhaps Ras Prabhu could lead us in a short kirtan to properly end our session.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Purusha Pariprajak Stotra Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath, Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamana Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Haribol. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you, Ras Prabhu, for the kirtan. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His
Jai,
Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai,
Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai,
Nande.
Hari Bol.